Thank you. Rose, roll call, please.
Judge Deskins?
Here.
Mr. Anderson?
Here.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Here.
Mr. Varney?
Here. Leo, would you lead us to the Pledge of Allegiance? Approval of the minutes of January the 5th, 2016, and September the 15th, 2015. Motion.
Feel free to as well. So you can skip it unless you want to say they was on the agenda and they couldn't make it. And we'll get them next court meeting.
Well, whatever they got in here for,
It's not here.
okay. I don't think they planned to come.
Roll call, please.
Roll call.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Adoption of a resolution honoring the Belfry High School football team.
Judge, they were unable to be here because school being out today, so we'll do that next month. They called ahead, Coach Haywood did and stuff, so we'll get them young gentlemen in here next month.
Thank you. Would you make the approval for executive session?
Yes, sir. At this time, I make a motion that we go into executive session and according to KRS, I got to get it right, 61.810, Pacific personnel.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
Judge, before we go into executive session, we got several visitors with us today. Looks like most of our county workers, and I guess they're here today on a rumor that their benefits were gonna be cut, their pay. You know, I don't know of anybody that said anything about cutting their pay. Bobby made a motion the other day in the court meeting that we cut our self across the board 10 to 20%. And, you know, I think that we've always said if any cuts, it will be in the magistrates and the commissioners. The employees have never been brought up, never mentioned about cutting y'all's wages. I know you don't make enough the way it is. And, you know, I don't think nobody's here to talk about your wages, but we're here to talk about a budget today. We're here to try to get a budget. We're here to try to save your insurance if we can. We don't know how this meeting is gonna come out, but y'all are welcome to stay. But I don't think, you know, that y'all have to worry about your wages being cut. We'd like to give you a raise if we could. I think that's the thing we would wanna do, if we can see it clear. But that's all I have, Judge, before you go in there. I know there'll be sitting here while we're back there, and it might be a while.
And one thing, I did not make the motion as we talked about. That was in the discussion part of it. I want to put that out there. I didn't make a motion to cut anybody's wages, but I said we'd just take a 20% cut across the board, everything, every department. And what I really meant on that was that if we had 20 people in that department, we'd have to lay off 20% of them. You know, and that was just something we need to look at. We need to bring it out there and put it out there, I thought. And that's all that was.
And I don't believe there's gonna be any cut in the employees today.
I'm sorry. I understand your question. I wish you would identify yourself and who you're working for, and then go to the mic so that we can all understand that, particularly me, before I answer it.
Good morning. Chris Anderson with East Kentucky Broadcasting News. Technically, with the vote, you guys are technically in executive session right now. Prior to Magistrate Dotson's comments, I just wanted to make sure that the comments that Magistrate Dotson, Magistrate Varney, and Judge Deskins made are included on the record.
Thank you for that, and you are correct. And let's just do this, make sure we do it correctly. Even though we have voted to go into executive session, could we have a motion to rescind the vote to go into executive session and that the comments just made here in open court be made a part of the record? Would you make that motion, Judge?
Yes.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
Thank you for that. Now we need another motion to go into executive session. Pursuant to the Kentucky Revised Statute, which Magistrate Varney read, I would request, Magistrate Varney, the statute section that you read was for discussion of specific personnel matters. I would suggest that this motion include litigation or potential litigation.
Need a motion.
I'll make that motion again, and that is KRS 61-840, 810, I'm sorry, and that is paragraph F and C.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Court be in recess. The meeting will resume. John, I believe you got some recommendations.
Just want everybody to be patient with us. This is a work in progress and trying to make sure that we have a balanced budget by June 30th as required by law. It will be a work in progress for the next 5 months and a half. I got the coal severance numbers and the mineral severance numbers today. We budgeted in the county's budget $3 million for coal severance. In 3 quarters, we've received $1,672,709.53. Since it is on a downward trend, we're probably looking at close to $900,000 short in the coal severance tax. The mineral severance tax was budgeted what we received last year of $2,628,982. For 3 quarters, we've received or will receive $1,150,389.25, leaving the mineral severance needing about $1,478,000. The trend has been 434, 333, 382, so we're looking at about $1,000,001 there. So for the two together, the shortfall will be about $2 million just in those 2 line items, and it won't be any better next year. The only saving thing would be if mineral severance comes back up. But at this point, the court has come to a consensus on recommendations to start trying to bring the budget in line for June 30th to be in the black. All vehicles will be parked except for work process during the day. At night, they will be parked. The only 9 people can take them home. 6 road foremen, the road supervisor, the judge, and Bobby Mullins, since he has to come out and check on the landfill. We're going to look at a contact on the golf course to private interest in order to let them run it and us not fund it after this year and hopefully the rest of this fiscal year. We're not going to reopen the pools. The magistrates are going to reimburse the county back for the cell phones that they carry. The jailer has agreed to 10% cut. We're going to purchase rugs for all buildings and first aid kits to try and cut back on cost. We have the $220,000 that was allocated for the clerk that we're going to use to end up in June 30th. Brian will have the actual personnel issues, and the other thing is that the assistant county attorney has been given the direction to, as new people are hired, the administrative code is going to be changed that we will not offer full health insurance. It will only be a single plan to anybody future hired. Have I left out
Let me
any?
clarify, since we've got a lot of county workers here, we don't want anyone to go out with a misunderstanding of what you just said, John. This is for new hires. We're going to change the code. If this court agrees to that change, we'll have a first reading of a ordinance amending the administrative code at the next court meeting. All current county employees at the present time would be grandfathered in for the family health insurance coverage that you now have. New hires after a certain date, however, would not enjoy that benefit, but would only be provided single plan health insurance. Now, that's my understanding of what
And
we're
also, if any of our employees have their spouses on that have insurance somewhere else, please help us to bring this cost in line, and especially if your spouse works at the hospital, please take them from our policy. This has been a free offer, but it's getting to where we may end up with the employees having to pay, and this is a way right now to try and keep the employees from having to pay by grandfathering everybody that does have a family or an employee spouse or an employee and children to keep their coverage. So if anybody has coverage, especially at the hospital or with another employer, please ask your spouse to let you come in and remove them. To go from a family plan is $1,585 to an employee child is $800 and some dollars. So you're almost cutting our cost in half. I please urge you all, if you all can, please help us with this cost, because health insurance does not go down. And one of the employees said that we've changed it twice. Well, we haven't. We changed it one time in one fell swoop. It went from a $600, $300 deductible 90-10 plan to an 80-20 plan with a $2,500, $5,000 deductible. We tried to offset with the flex cards for the $1,200 to help take some of the burden off of the $2,500 deductible. But that is a cost that everybody looks at us and says, I can't believe you're providing that still for your employees. And I had talked with somebody this weekend in the grocery store, and I come in and told the magistrates, because they've been wrestling with the idea of what we could do, and I said, well, this other company that is a government-based company said that they grandfathered people and kept anybody new coming in only with a single plan, and as the years, and they dropped off, kept bringing it down and bringing it down. And the magistrates really like that idea, so that's what we're going to start with on the health insurance. Because if our health insurance runs us $223,000 or $25,000 according to how many policy holders we have a month. So that's about $2.6 million in a year. If we cut down to just a single plan, it would save the county $1.4 million. So please, I encourage you all to please help us with this cost. We want to provide it for as long as we can to our employees. We know that's a reason why you come to the county. So please help us if you've got extra coverage to try and help us provide it here for the ones that can't get it anywhere else. I guess that's about all we have had on our minds and things. And like I said, this is a work in progress. We've had good times, and we've been all of us as county employees, in essence, over the years, have gotten used to a lot because we were able to provide a lot. So now we're all in this together. It's a we issue. We all need to try and help to bring the cost down as much as we can so that we can all still benefit.
Jonda mentioned the
Oh,
road
yeah, and
department.
the magistrates are going to freeze their road accounts, and that'll bring us $250,000. If they see they can spend it come June 30th, they will, but as of right now, we froze the majority of their monies except for what they'll need to do salt and maybe some graveling. So it's going to be the minimum because we do have the flex money coming from the state, $60,000 for the 15-16 year that we need to get under an MOA. And how much was the 16-17 money? Jackie Darrell, do you remember? Was it close to 15-16? I know 60,000. How much is 16-17 going to be? Is it about 200 and some? So that will help offset them giving up this money to help with Blacktop for next year once we get these MOAs in place. There are things that we just have to provide with the county. The animal shelter is someplace that we're inundated with animals, and we have to provide. Really, that place does not have enough employees as it is to take care of the number of animals we have. If everybody can please spay and neuter your pets, help us in any way we can because we have to provide that service. We have to provide what is essential to house inmates. There's things we just cannot get around. Please pay your garbage bills. Please help us in every way that we can. In any occupational tax and net profits, please help us. If we hadn't have had that, I don't know where this county would have been. Everybody wants to say it fell flat. I don't see it falling flat because, and I'm getting a little emotional here because I do have almost 30 years here, and I consider this county as much my own personal as what I do my personal, because it hurts me whenever I have to tell these guys we're not in a good shape. Unfortunately, 1, 2, 3, 4 of you didn't even know me 12 years ago, whenever Judge Deskins was here before. And before he took office in 2003, I had to come to him and say, we're about $1.5 million or $2 million short. This past administration, just let it come off to the next one. And that's unfortunately what we get, is whenever people get defeated, they don't look for what the next person coming in is going to have to deal with. And if you remember, Judge Rutherford told me, we're going to get through this budget, aren't we? And I said, yeah, you'll get through to June 30th, 2015. But I don't know what the 2015-16 budget. But they don't care because they're gone. Leave it to somebody else to take care of. And that's not fair for us as employees. So please help us as much as we can. Everybody should take the pride in what they do for the county and try and leave it as good for the next person coming in as, you know, and be treated the way you want to be treated, is how my mother always used to say. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So please, we're all in this together. Let's all try. Thank you.
Thank you, Jonda. Okay.
I got just a couple of personnel. I need approval to terminate Ryan Stratton effective January 31st. He is out of the judge's office. Need to acknowledge the retirement of Charles Blackburn effective February 29th of this year. Charles has worked at the solid waste for 31 years. And his position, he's a dozer operator at the landfill. We're doing away with the dozer operator permanently. So therefore, Charles has got his time in, and he's graciously said that he would turn in his papers and retire. That's the two recommendations that the judge has. Need a motion, second.
Thank you.
Frankie, was you going to say something?
Can we take all those in one motion?
Now, I think that just by the matter of the administrative code, I think I will check with Kelly and make sure, but I think that we can change it based on the administrative code to come in with just the new hires getting health.
Judge, I believe you made a motion. That'll need a second and a majority of vote. It has to be your motion. It's personnel recommendations, the two, Blackburn and Stratton.
I make the motion, I need a second.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Diskins?
Yes.
Real quick, Judge, before you go on, I like that. Any county workers have anything to say at this point? You got something to say,
I got one
Charles?
question on the parked vehicles. I know you included the road foremans and Bobby and them on it. What about Doug and CJ? They're on call 24/7.
I think it's the census of the court that everyone but the names that's mentioned, correct, guys?
I'll be honest with you, I'd forgot about you all. I don't know if anybody else did, but that might be something
Well,
we need to consider.
CJ is
911
paid for by 911, so
911
that would
board.
be a 911 board decision on him. CJ would be there. EMA, we may have to provide on the law since he is,
Yeah, we need somebody.
Well, you know, with the snow coming,
and
You know,
any.
or any
well,
emergency.
any emergency, I mean,
Spill, diesel spill and stuff, so he goes everywhere and anywhere at all times, and helicopters, crashing and things to find people.
so let's add the 911, Doug and
CJ's is
CJ
based
to
on
the list, and
911.
we can always reevaluate it if we need to.
Be fine.
But I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, thank you, Charles.
One other thing, 1 o'clock, I have a conference call with the Weather Service about the upcoming weather coming in tomorrow and also this weekend. So if any of the court or the commissioners want to set in on that, you're more than welcome.
1 o'clock today.
And the EOC.
Anybody else? All right, guys, you can be excused, but remember what I said, every county worker here today, personal time or vacation time.
All right, next on the agenda is for approval and discussion. Second reading of proposed ordinance adopting CCC Trail public roads into the Pike County road system. John Doe?
Thank you, Judge, and this is a second reading of a proposed ordinance. I will do that in summary form. These are to add 4 segments of the CCC Trail up in the District 3, Magisterial District 3, bring them into the public road system for potential use as a trail system. It's a good start, Judge, and in summary form, there are 4 segments of this CCC Trail. The reason they're in segments is the trails run in and out of the Commonwealth of Virginia, and we obviously can't go over into Virginia and do anything. So the first segment is 0.42 miles. All these roads will be 15 feet in width. The second segment is 1.606 miles, 15 feet in width. Segment 3, 1.66 miles, 15 feet. Segment 4 will be 5.92 miles, 15 feet wide. That is the second reading in summary form, and it'll take a motion, second, and a majority vote.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Diskins?
Yes. Freddie, you have any comments you'd like to make?
Good evening, guys. I know you've had a tough day, but it's turned out to be really a lot better day than what we was looking at. I'm glad that nobody lost no jobs or their insurance. So whatever you's worked out back there, thank you for it. And I know that it's hard times, and you're doing everything that you can do to try to get by. And you've asked me to make cuts, so we've sat down for the last couple of weeks with my staff, and we've cut everywhere we can cut. We've done everything we can do to try to help also. And I was just gonna go over the cuts with everybody. That way you'll understand, you know, where it's coming from and what we've done in order to try to get us, you know, to that percent that you asked for. I'll go ahead and just read it. And I put it effective February the 1st, 2016. That way we can go ahead and implement them. They'll be in effect by the 1st of this month. Effective immediately, all staff members will no longer be paid overtime. Instead, all staff members will be given comp time. If it becomes necessary for additional time, staff will be required to subtract said time from another shift. This will be a savings of $111,942. We're going to have to reduce the number of our part-time employees by 2. We're going to have to lay 2 people off in this, so I hate that. That's the worst part of my whole cutback right here. I'm going to have to lay 2 off. But they will be part-time. They're part-time employees. So we'll be laying them off.
Freddie, they're just going from full-time to part-time,
No, these are actually part-time employees. It's only
but you're letting
getting
go totally.
They'll be totally cut off from employment, yeah.
Go
And,
ahead, I'm sorry.
in order to meet this, I mean, that's the only way I know to do it, and plus, you know, keep the jail going like we got to do. I think somebody asked me the other day about that study that they done on the jail back in 2010, and it was what was the name of the guy that done it? Ray Sabatini. The fiscal court was the actual one that had the study done. Somebody asked me who had it done, but it was a fiscal court that had it done, and they said that the minimum to keep, you know, the jail safe and to abide by the laws will be 52 employees. So this is going to cut me back to 40. I'll have 48 right now, actually on staff. On my budget, I've got the equipment, maintenance, and repairs. This is the stuff that I've cut out, okay, to try to reach this. Equipment, maintenance, and repairs, $3,500. Office equipment and repairs, $200. Vehicle maintenance and repair, $1,300. My K-9 budget, I'll just give back to the county. It was $5,000. So we just decided to give that money back to the county, and we'll just personally feed the K-9 ourselves. And I talked to the vet, and the vet told me since, you know, the K-9 was doing some good stuff, and he didn't want us to lose it, and he would help me out on the medical bill. So we'll kind of just foot that bill personally. Cleaning supplies, $20,000. Data processing, $2,000. Food prep, $7,000. Food, $12,000. Gasoline expense, $8,000. Linens and beddings, $950. Vehicle parts, $600. Office supplies, $10,000. Prisoner hygiene, $10,000. Prisoner clothing, $1,000. Tires and tubes, $700. Uniforms, $950. Registration and training, $2,000. Renewals and repairs, $2,000. Travel expense, $1,500. Communication equipment, radios, $3,000, and new office equipment, $2,000. So that's what I've cut out of my budget in order to reach you guys, you know, in order to reach what we had talked about. And that way everybody understands and knows where we're at as well. So, you know, we're doing our part. We've went way above and beyond, I believe, really to get to where we need to be. So that's with the budget. Now, there was something brought up the other day, and I wanted to go over that publicly so everyone would know on the commissary, which I know the commissary don't have nothing to do with the fiscal court budget, but at the same time, you know, we want the public to know this as well. It had been brought to my attention that someone might have been told that we was charging a very high rate on our commissary. Now, keep in mind that this commissary that we sell these inmates, that's the money that I use to buy all the weed eaters, the gasoline, the lawnmowers, everything that the work release program has is paid for by commissary money, meaning profit made from sales of food, cakes, underwear, whatever, to the inmates. So that's what we pay for, you know, the profit we make off that, that's what we buy all that stuff with to keep the work release going, plus such things as TVs and stuff like that. Now, I done a study after I talked to this individual and checked it out real close, because, you know, it concerned me. Someone had said that we was charging $3 and something for a pop. Somebody said we was charging $3 something for a candy bar. It was $6 and something to get a pop and a candy bar. And I was like, I don't think that's right. But I wanted to go back and make sure. So I come to the court today to let you guys know, to give you a list. But listed below are the average percentages for the commissary items and grocery items. Cabell County Jail is 55 to 65%. Carroll County Jail, 45 to 55. Carter County Jail, 35 to 45%. Floyd County Jail, 35 to 45%. Pike County Jail come in at the lowest in the state at 20 to 25%. A bottle of pop's $1.89. I wanted to run those numbers to make sure that everybody know. Now, here's how this works. That way you understand what we're dealing with over there. A lot of times the inmates will call Mama or Papa or Mommy and Daddy and say, hey, they're charging me $20 for 2 candy bars and a pop. Well, Mama and Papa believes that, you know, and that's why I wanted to come to the TV to let them know that is not true, because those inmates want money for other things, not so much as commissary. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the price list at the machine where the people put their money in for commissary. That way the parents or grandparents or whoever brings money over to put on the books for our inmates, they can actually look at it themselves and say, hey, Billy lied to me. That pop's only $1.89. He told me it was $4 on the phone. You know, so that's how that gets misconstrued and turned around. And I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood that that's definitely not the case at all. You know, but other than that, you know, that's the cuts that we've had to make in order to get to where we're at. Okay, is everybody okay with that? Any questions? We've worked, Leo, I'll be honest with you, me and my staff, we've sat down for the last 2 weeks. You know, stayed there 10, 11, 12 o'clock at night working on our budget, because we want to do what we can to save jobs as well, you know. And I understand it's hard times. Our coal mines is shut down, and, you know, when you take our coal mines away from us, our life's blood is in trouble, you know. So hopefully we can get some factories back here and some things back here to help our people, because we've got a lot of families that having to pack up and leave. And it's a sad situation. It is. I share it with you. I understand what we're going through. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Freddie.
You're welcome.
All right. Let's see. Yeah, second reading of a proposed ordinance amending the Pike County Administrative Code to delete employee vacation by county.
Thank you, Judge. This is a second reading of an ordinance amending the Pike County Administrative Code. I'll read it in its entirety since it is very short. Again, I will remind the people of Pike County that this is a money savings measure that the court felt was wise to enact at this time. Be it ordained that Section 445 of KOC-230.20, the Pike County Administrative Code, is hereby amended to delete in its entirety Section 6 thereof as follows. Section 6 states, and this is the language being deleted, hourly employees shall have the option of being paid for accumulated vacation leave, personal leave, or taking the leave. It must be used in blocks of 40 hours. That'll be out of our code. Section 445 needs to be further amended to renumber paragraphs 7 through 10 consistent with this deletion, and that is the second reading. Judge, that will require your motion, since it does amend the administrative code, a second and majority vote. Need a motion, Judge, from you.
I need a motion and a second.
Your motion, Judge.
Oh, my motion, okay, I motion. Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson.
Yes.
Mr. Johnson. Mr. Murphy.
Yes.
Mr. Robinson. Mr. Dotson.
Yes.
Mr. Barney.
Yes.
Judge Disick.
Yes. Mr. Walker, I seem to have forgotten about your coming to speak.
I'm a patient man. I know you've got a lot on your plate there today, but, you know, and before I start, I understand the trouble that the county's in. But I think you fellas need to understand the situation that we're in as far as a bridge at Walker's Branch. Now, when the water gets up, somebody's over in that holler and they have a heart attack. What's going to happen? Are we going to lay over there and die till the water goes back down? Or if we break a leg, there's no way to get in there when the water is up. And that's the reason I'm pushing so hard for a bridge. And Jackie Darrell come over and looked at it the other day, and he told me that that's the worst road and bridge that he's seen anywhere in Pike County. And as you all know, you're familiar, there's certain things that has got to be done before we ever get to the point of building a bridge. But there has got to be a starting point somewhere. And Jeff, the judge tells me you're the man that has to start it. And
I've been trying since, I actually went over there Saturday briefly between ball games.
well, I wish you'd have called me till I could have come.
And I'm open, as I have been the whole time, to suggestions. And I know we've discussed the problems that we've encountered. But if we, whatever legal avenues that we need to pursue, I mean, if we can, whatever our options are. I mean, I've tried probably a half a dozen times to meet and try to reach some type of plausible solution to get that bridge built. And I'm whatever we need to do, I'm ready to go. But the problem that I have right now and that we've had in the past is we're going to infringe on somebody else's property.
Well, like I said in the last court meeting, they took Daddy's hay fields up through the holler
Right.
and give it to Victor Foote for a road. Because he could, and their excuse or their determination, he could not reasonably enjoy his property because he couldn't get to it. I can't reasonably enjoy my property because I can't get to it. And as far as the road going up through the branch, I have said and said and said, anytime the county will build a road up level with the creek banks, I will give a road up through my hayfield to bring the road up out of the branch. But I will not give it until the county builds a road or a bridge. Because anytime you can get across the bridge, you can get up through the branch. And I don't care if you've got a 6-lane highway. If you can't get to it, it's useless.
Well, what I've been trying to do is get some money to do it with, and we don't have it. We're having to make cuts to keep the whole county running, because if we don't pass the budget, the state will take over. And
Understand
if they
that.
do, maybe they'll build your bridge.
Well,
Mr. Walker,
There
I
is
think what we might need to do is I think inevitably, John Doug's probably going to have to explain what we can do legally to try to get that. Because, we've been, I know we talked about this last time, I've been over there several times, the former assistant county attorney, Roland Case, Jimmy Kaiser's been over there. We've talked to the Corps, the Division of Water, and, I don't think anybody doesn't want to see a bridge built, but we've got guidelines and restrictions on us as well. And I think if we didn't have that other side issue, if you will, I think we'd already have the bridge built. But whatever we can do and do it, within our legal bounds, I'm sure that the court the judge and John Doe, for that matter, will be happy to help out.
Well, you know, this has been going on for at least 12 to 15 years, trying to get a bridge built. And
They even tried-
in 12 to 15 years, looks to me like they could have been something done if anybody wanted to do it.
Well, I agree, and I think it was going on for 12 or 15 years, if not longer, prior to me being magistrate.
Yeah, it's been going on for
Yeah, it's been
about
going on longer
20-some
than 15 years. But, you know, I have met with your sister, and I don't have a problem building a bridge. You know, we've built bridges, we've done things on roads, but we can't, we just can't trespass on
Well,
somebody's
you know,
property.
I've got a friend of mine that's gonna donate the beams.
Right.
He's not gonna wait for 3 or 4 years for the county to make up their mind whether they want them or not.
Well,
So,
now,
you know,
they-
if we don't do something, then somebody else is gonna end up with them beams, and then the county's gonna have to go with the full expense of building the bridge.
I understand your problem, but I've never run into as many brick walls in my whole working life as I have when I took this job over, and I'm doing the best I can. And it's just unreal. When this things was going like 15 or 20 years ago, we had all the money to do whatever. Now, we're in this situation. And we're trying to spend money fairly and to get the job done. Because I took an oath of office to do what I can. And believe me, I've got a lot of guidelines I have to follow.
Well, I understand, but like I said, it's not like that you can make a decision today to build that bridge and you start on it tomorrow. There is going to be a long, drawn-out process here that's going to have to be gone through before you get ready to build a bridge. And my point is, if we don't start the process sometime, it will never get started. And that old bridge that's down there, me and Jackie Darrell looked at it the other day, there's water goes in under it all over. And it's not going to last much longer.
Well,
And when the bridge washes out completely, the county ain't got no money. Then you've got to go to the process of condemning the land. Then how long is the people over in Walker's Branch, how long are we gonna be cut off from our property?
I don't know, but we're working
3
on it.
families, I believe.
And
No.
we're trying to get some money. If we can, we may be able to get that started.
But do you have to, wait till you get the money to start the process to see?
Federal money or state money, either one would help.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. But, what I'm saying, do you have to have the money before you can see if you're gonna have to condemn the land, or if you condemn the land?
If we had the money, we could get started on it, whether we had it at a plan or not. The plan we're having is trying to find money. And I'm
Mr.
sorry,
Walker, I'm kinda lost in this. Is this a county bridge that we're talking about replacing?
Yes, sir.
It's already in the
County
road system?
From the 194 to the Victor Foots property line is 1.5 mile. And it was taken into the county in 1985.
So this is a
I
county
have got-
bridge?
Huh?
This is a county bridge?
Yes, sir.
You don't have to get no easements for anybody to repair it?
I think the problem, Hillman,
There's
that,
really not nothing there to repair.
This bridge is a drain bridge, and concrete's been poured over top of it. And the water has ceased, we're still running through some of the drains, but the water's running in between where the drains is, and it's going to eventually collapse. And beyond that, where they're traveling up the road for quite a while, the creek and the road's the same thing. And we went the other day, and he showed me different avenues going up the side of the hill over there and get a road that way, but that'd be too expensive. It's a tough deal, and break the story down, he's got a sister, it's against that road being widened out. They've done and went down the road since the last meeting and cut some of the road base out to the left there, and they've cut it out. Apparently, well, he said his sisters did, or she had to back him up after a little excavator. And there's a problem there with the family. In order to do any work there, around the bridge area, you're gonna have to condemn some land. But I told him we had financial difficulties, but if that was something you want to work on, you're going to have to condemn the land and start the procedure. But when did we get the money to do the bridge? It's a shame this wasn't done in the time of planning in the 90s. You know, it could have been took care of.
Who owns the land that you'd have to condemn? Is it your sister?
Yes, Loretta and Jean
She was
Leslie.
out there watching as I was.
You know,
over
low
there.
water bridge isn't
And
the
then her
answer
husband
either. is
called
it?
me one day, and he was just checking out, see what we was doing. I said, we got financial difficulties right now. He said, that's all I want to know. He's just interested in the bridge not
Do
being
they
built.
use the bridge, Jackie Earl?
Huh?
Does his sister use the bridge?
No,
No.
she lives right beside 194.
You turn off the main road down Johns Creek, there's a church on the left, sister lives over here. You go down the little road out here and you go around, then you go across this concrete-covered drain tiles. It's a low river, overflows, the
low
water
water
gets
bridge.
big.
What we
After
always
you
call it.
cross the bridge, how many residences pass the bridge?
3.
3 houses.
3 houses.
And James Fink lives up in there, and his mother was under hospice care, and hospice quit going up in there because their employees use their own personal vehicles, and they wouldn't drive through the water going across the bridge, and the water was up and so much. They just dropped her from hospice care because of the bridge and stuff.
Wow.
And I mean, I know it's a bad situation that you fellas don't, or the court don't have the money to build it right now. I understand that. But you gotta turn around and look at our point. That property is useless to me. If I can't get to it, it's useless to me. And if somebody gets over in there, like I said, and has a heart attack when the creek's up, what are we gonna do?
Have we got an estimate on how much the bridge would cost to construct, Jackie Earl?
No, basically, what appears, if the beams is given like he says and they fits the standard, we'd have to build 3 piers and sidewalls to them there. We haven't had no estimate, as far as I know, Jeff. We haven't had no estimate on that, have we?
Can you rough a number?
Can I drop, I'll get one done.
Yeah, I just kind of
Jackie, there's a road bridge program out there through the state.
We've discussed
That's
that.
an 80-20 plan. And, you know, I know Jeff's budget is running tight right now, but it might be something you look at for the next
he
budget.
meant-
But I think you need first to get the property secured, get
that's
the
number one.
right-of-way secured.
If you can't
That's
do
what
that,
I'm
you
saying.
can't build a bridge.
We've got to start somewhere, and the first thing you're gonna have to do is to acquire the property.
If I'm not mistaken, you've talked to a representative on the 80-20 project, correct?
I won't say 80-20, but he told me that he would do everything he possibly could to get it through. He said the state will pay a minimum of 50% up to 100%.
Let's do this.
That's Chris Harris.
Let's do this, Mr. Walker. Me and you spoke prior to the meeting and you needing an estimate, correct? Mm-hmm. Jackie Earl, let's get him an estimate so he can turn it in. And he wants the ball at least started to going, that at least get us going. Get an estimate, and then you can contact your state rep again, and then that gives us a couple of weeks down the road, and then you're more welcome to come back to the next court meeting.
Oh, I'll be back.
And then we'll address it again. But it has to start, even with the 80-20, we have to have an estimate. So let's get the estimate and let's move forward. Not with the bridge, let's move forward with the estimate. And then after that, we have to get the property before we could do anything,
Yeah,
Mr. Walker.
that's what I'm saying.
If I may,
You
excuse me,
That's
Mr.
one
Walker.
thing that I disagree
I'd like to get I'd like to start this at A and go to Z. That's the logical way to approach things. Number one, we need a plan. You all sit here and talk about eminent domain powers of the county, which we clearly have. We can condemn property over there. Somebody's going to have to show this court and this attorney what you're talking about. You know, I know generally what you're talking about, and then you're talking about getting an estimate on a bridge. That's fine. But somebody from, what is that, 194?
I begged everybody here, the judge, Brian, you, Jeff, Jackie Darrell, all to come out and meet with me. We'll look at it.
Well,
But I can't get nobody.
I
Jackie
appreciate
Earl's
that,
on
but
one.
if I looked at it, I still couldn't draw a plan, Mr. Walker. That's what I'm saying. The road commissioner needs to get a plan, how wide that right-of-way is, how long the bridge is, where's it gonna be, what's it gonna cost? And then, that's the logical way to address this problem. You gotta start somewhere.
That's right.
And that's a
We've
good
got to
start.
start
I think you'd
somewhere.
agree with that.
I mean, they have to be a starting point.
I mean, they could tell me today, go over and condemn that property, and I'd say, condemn what? See what I mean? Somebody's got to show me. Thank you.
Jackie Darrell will work on getting it started.
Will do.
Well,
You can do that.
all right. I'll be
Thank you.
back next court meeting, I guess.
All right. First reading of a proposed ordinance designing certain county roads for ATV usage. John Doug?
I'll just read this one. It's not that long. This is an ordinance, whereas KRS 189.515, paren 6, paren C, provides in pertinent part that a county government may designate those public highways, segments of public highways, and adjoining right-of-way of public highways under its jurisdiction where all-terrain vehicles that are prohibited may be operated. Now therefore be it ordained as follows, that the following county roads are designated as roads where all-terrain vehicles may be operated pursuant to KRS 189.515, paren 6, paren C. There are 7 roads listed, the 4 segments of the CCC Trail. They don't have road numbers yet, but they will after today. The 5th road is CR 6601, which is named the North River Road. CR 6546, Big Hackney Creek Road. And finally, CR 6546, South River Road. Operation of all-terrain vehicles on the above designated county roads shall be subject to the following restrictions as set forth in KRS 189.515, paren 6, paren D through G as follows. Number 1, a person operating all-terrain vehicles, an all-terrain vehicle on these roads shall possess a valid operator's license. Number 2, a person operating an all-terrain vehicle on these roads shall comply with all applicable traffic regulations. Number 3, a person shall not operate an all-terrain vehicle on these roads unless the all-terrain vehicle has at least 1 headlight and 2 taillights, which shall be illuminated at all times the vehicle is in operation. Number 4, a person operating an all-terrain vehicle on these roads shall restrict the operation to daylight hours except when engaged in snow removal or emergency road maintenance. That is the first reading of the ordinance, and I will add for the benefit of the court that these 4 restrictions that I just read are specifically set forth in the Kentucky Revised Statute and must be a part of this ordinance. Thank you, Judge. No further action at this time on that.
Acknowledgement of the Pike County map signage request form and approval for the price list. I need a motion.
Motion to acknowledge.
What is this is the request form. Judge, if I may, Lisa has been working and actually worked this form up and can explain what it is and why it's needed.
Okay, first, there is a request form that is in the 911 and GIS services. It's actually helping them to regulate their cost and who comes in and wants maps or who wants signage. And it has to go through your office to be approved before they can print that out. And also on there is a price list because from what I understand, they have other entities that come in and request signs or request maps, and there is a charge for that. And they have charged in the past, but they want to bring it before the court to be acknowledged and to accept the price list too.
All right. Need
Yeah, you need a motion and a
a
second
motion? I need a motion.
to approve adoption of the form.
Jeff made the motion.
Motion to approve the adoption of the form.
Need a second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
I just got back in, I don't know what you're voting on, so
It's on the,
I'd go to the restroom, I'm sorry.
Approving this form, it's,
Approving this form to request a map.
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
And there's a price list that should be attached to the back of the form that he uses for public use, and people come in and ask for, which he said is comparable to Staples or anything else. They did research on that, so.
I think we need forms like that on everything. I think we need forms generated like that goes to the judge's office on any form of spending whatsoever, trips, whatever. I think it needs to go through the judge's office. I think the court might need to look at that moving forward. That way we don't get hit by certain bills we didn't know that was accumulating.
And that's what Doug and Charles wanted to do with this too, is that they were actually getting requests that wasn't filtered through any kind of system. So this should actually help them on their prices
Right.
and what they have there at cost.
All right. Cancel or reschedule fiscal court meeting on February the 2nd, 2016, due to meetings in Frankfort and Lexington. What do we want to change that to? What date? Let's see.
Do we need to have the
I
meeting?
don't think we need to have one at all. We're not going to do any personnel whatsoever between now and the second Tuesday of February. We don't have a payroll as far as coming back together. I don't see any reason at all why we can't cancel that meeting altogether.
If we need to have one, we can just call a special
If we
meeting.
gotta have one, we'll have a special call meeting.
There you go.
Ryan, if we have to have one, you like meeting scheduled for the evening, we could do it in
Yeah,
the morning.
absolutely. But I don't foresee, I know there's not gonna be no personnel, and, we don't have a payroll, so no bills needs to be paid. I can't foresee even needing one.
All righty. Awarding of bids. No bids.
We need to make a motion on that?
Need a second.
Judge made the motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr.
Yes.
Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Magistrate's roadwork.
Second.
All right.
Roll call. Go ahead, roll call.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. All right. Magistrate's comments. Jeff?
Judges, real quick, we got some bad weather, I think, heading this way, so everybody be careful and bundle up and stay warm. I know we had I think a 4-car pileup just the other night out there on the 4-lane across from where I live. So the roads have been very slick, and I think they're giving some bad weather this week too. Everybody needs to be careful. That's all I have.
Magistrate Johnson?
Judge, I'm glad we got this budget halfway fixed. The next one comes up, and so we just hope things starts coming in a little better, so we don't have to make these hard decisions.
Leo?
Yes, I just want to ask Jimmy if he's heard anything on the buyouts over at Upper Pompey or anything.
We've got the appraisals done, and probably within maybe next week, if Lisa's free, we'll start writing the grant.
Okay, you haven't heard anything on the grants yet?
No.
Okay,
We just got to get through this step to get.
I know it's a long drawn-out process and it's got to go with the flow. Can't force nothing, yeah.
We're more or less now we're probably 2 weeks away from waiting on an approval. 2 to 3 weeks away from waiting on and getting the grant to them, and then we have to wait for their approval.
Okay, appreciate it.
Kenneth? Hillman?
Judge, I just want to say I think that we had a good work session. It's not the finish of it. It's just the beginning. And I feel like if we stay on track and our county employees work with us, that we'll be able to have a successful budget and start working on our next one. But, you know, we, as a county, have got some tough times, and it's not going to get easy. But I just wish that we could all work together, and we see a problem, take care of it. And John, I thank you for your patience and working with us. I know there's been a lot of numbers changed that we first started with. And I feel like we're committed to the people, not a few, to tell us how to run the county. We've got to look at the county as a whole and deal with it as we can, when we can. And I want to thank Pike TV and EKB for all the coverage you're giving us out in the county. It's letting people understand where we are and where we're going. But, you know, it's not going to be easy, and I ask the court to be patient, and I ask the people to be patient and work with us. Give us your opinions, which you're doing. And come election time, if you don't like what we're doing, elect you a new magistrate or elect you a new judge and see if they can do better. But I want to let everybody know it's not been easy. The county employees have been under a lot of pressure and a lot of strain. I worked with them yesterday. I plowed snow, and I know what they're going through. It's tough. My road foreman, he went out the other night at 12 o'clock to salt roads by himself, and I appreciate that. And I appreciate the men getting out at 5 o'clock in the morning and braving this cold weather. And I just think that we need some kind of a plan to where our people on the back of these garbage trucks, if we could delay their pickup for another day when they're out in 6 and 7 degree weather. I think the court needs to look at some alternative, if we can, to give them boys some relief, because it gets dangerous cold out there on the back of them trucks. They could fall or get hurt, slip. But I think it's something we need to look at as a court, and see if we can't give them, when we get down in them temperatures, to give them some relief. And, you know, I just thank God for giving us the knowledge that we have today to come together with some numbers that are close, and I think it will prevail in our new budget. I think we have meetings with our legislators, our senators. We need to let them know how bad that we need that cold severance money that we have, what little bit's left, to pay some of the debt service that we have in this county. And it will get better with or without us. You know, things are going to go on. And every valley you've got two mountaintops. When you're in that valley, you've got a mountain on each side. And I think we're started up toward the top of the mountain. It's going to take a while. But with the county and the employees working together, I think we can prevail. Thank you, Judge.
All right. Bobby?
Yes, Judge, thank you. I want to commend this court. I think some of the actions that we've taken here today and the talks and stuff that we had, that you have proved that what that seal that we got up there, that our greatest resource is our people. I think we're looking out for our people, and I want to commend you for that, each one of you gentlemen. And the litter problem, Judge, is still a problem. It doesn't take a vacation. It doesn't take a holiday. It's still out there, and I want to commend my Pride group and the work that they do. We've in the process of sending some letters to certain people that are responsible for some of this litter and stuff, and we're going to see where that goes, Judge. But we're not going to give up. We're going to keep up the fight. Thank you.
All right. Next on the agenda is the treasurer's business.
Authorize any necessary transfers and interfund transfers to pay the bills, payroll, health, life, and dental insurance in the FSA account.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskin?
Yes.
Authorize the payment of the expenditure approval list dated January 15, 2016, and any other utility and telephone bills received before the checks are run.
Motion. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskin?
Yes.
Acknowledge receipt of the county court clerk's December 2550 account and the November and December 2550 account for the sheriff.
Motion.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson? Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy? Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskin?
Yes.
We need to, on the things that I went over and what Brian did, we need to get an order of the court to reflect all the recommendations.
Specifically, I recall we didn't get an order on parking the vehicles of all employees, including the magistrates, with the exception, I believe, Brian, of 9 people. Is
11
that
people.
correct? And
11.
11 now.
all right, you added CJ and Doug Tackett, and so Bobby Mullins was on the list. Who else? Help me here.
Jackie Darrell,
You got
Bobby,
the
the
6 road
judge,
foremans, Jackie Darrell, the judge.
Ike, Greg White, John Thompson, Ralph Blankenship, Randy Casey, and Danny Branham.
Okay, that's the 6 road foreman. You got the county judge included in that. You got the county road commissioner included in that, and Doug and CJ. I think that's everything. All other county employees will be required to park their vehicles at the nearest workplace. And that would be the motion. We'll need a motion, second, majority vote to do that.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
John Doug, there's one on there that I think, he has to come down here all the time through the nights and everything, is, the boy that takes care of the courthouse here. He's,
Talking about Terry Rogers?
Terry Rogers there, because he's all the time has to come down through here all the time, so I don't know. We're just gonna put a lot of burden on him, I think.
Well, that's not up to me. That's up to the court. What the court wants to do is what the court can do in that regard. I don't think we've got a motion yet, do we?
Yes. We had a motion and a second.
Oh, we had a
But
motion and
we're
a second?
We're still in the discussion stage of it, though, so I guess we can modify or change that or add one or whatever you want to do there, Chick.
He's been doing a lot of the horse roundup. I mean, he's responsible for us being able to, and Judge, before we leave, I need me or you or Brian needs to update the people on our horse situation. And Terry's been able to capture 3 of them. And, you know, he went over on weekends and days that he wasn't paid and took food and catered these horses into the corral. But, you know, it's up to the court how they do these, but we're looking at.
I need a motion and a second.
Are you basically on call, Terry, for the most part?
We got a motion on the floor. What do we do?
You got a motion on the floor. You want to who made the motion?
I'll make the motion.
Jeff.
I'm sorry?
Jeff made the motion and Bobby seconded.
Second.
Would you like to withdraw that motion, Jeff?
Yeah, I'll withdraw that motion.
And I will second my second.
You'll withdraw your second. Now we need a motion to add Terry to that list, Terry Rogers. We'll need a motion now.
Motion.
Second.
Roll call.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Just one moment. I don't know what's wrong with it. Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. Commissioners and directors' comments.
Judge, before we get to that, there's been some, and I don't remember, we've done so much, what we've done and what we haven't done, but been some discussion on a spending freeze. Did we take any action on that?
No.
Nothing official?
Now, the motion that we just made was to add Terry to the list. Now, are we going to, we need another motion now to approve the whole list? Or?
I think what we did is added Terry to the list, and we got a motion with him in the list, and
Okay.
it's now passed, so
All right.
that's okay. But
Just so I understand that.
I don't know if the court wants to do anything or not. Again, that's not my call, but there was some discussion of that, Master Barney, and also there's a discussion about a hiring freeze. And I don't think there was any formal action taken with regard to either one, and I don't know what the court wants to.
John, I'll make a motion that we freeze all spending unless it's an emergency and approved by the judge and the court. That's other than,
Just necessary.
you know, if you gotta have salt or whatever, you know, we know that's a necessity. But any extra spending other than emergency situations, I think it needs to be approved by the judge and
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Andrews?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Barney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
And as far as the hiring freeze, Brenda's back there,
We're-
we haven't hired anyone probably 6 weeks now, and I don't foresee, unless it's that main important key to operations, I mean, as far as hiring, there will just be no hiring in the county until we get everything in line.
Unless it's an emergency or something, you know, somebody's off sick.
Yeah, unless it's that important piece that we need checked.
And all the other recommendations we talked about and John went over, now we've all voted and approved all of those?
I think so. I think
Okay,
that sums
all right,
it
I
up
just
right.
want to make sure. I think we left out some, I thought.
Hey, John Doug, I have a question. We probably need to make it clear. I know that the trail system does have money that's appropriated for the trail. There will be spending upon that. It's pass-through money, so we need to make sure. I know a lot of times in the public.
Yeah, we're not talking about that. That
Yeah.
is money that is designated for a specific use. It's pass-through money. We couldn't use it for any other purpose. So
Correct,
you
but a lot
feel
of
free
times
to
the
use
public-
that for the intended purpose.
Yeah, and public misconceives that sometimes because they think because we're spending money in a different department doesn't mean it's a higher, all the way across the board. I just don't want to make sure that they don't say anything about that money
Right.
pass-through money.
Right. You're not going to be spending any county money on trails right now. You're using pass-through money that's designated for that purpose. Thank you, Lisa.
All the other recommendations then we have voted on those?
Well, I think it was just the cutting of the budgets.
Pardon?
I don't think we got a vote on cutting the jailers. I mean, I don't,
We didn't get a vote on that, the rugs, all that stuff. That was out there.
No, we didn't vote on
Can we
none
do
of
that in one group?
yeah.
I think probably what I would do is a motion on the, you're talking about the Aramark budget, that you terminate your contract with Aramark and that the county proceed to do its own rug installation and maintenance as a cost savings measure. You need a motion to that effect?
Add
Second.
the first aid kits to that also, because you can go to Walmart and pick up cheap first aid kits that don't need to be refilled.
Thank you, John.
Hey, John Doe.
That's really all the services that Aramark provides, and it's rugs, and it's first aid kits, and I don't know if there's anything else or not, but the county is going to take it upon itself. It's going to take it upon itself to provide those services for county government, and it's the feeling of this court that it can do so much cheaper than what it is doing.
Hey, John Doug, before they vote on that, the only contract that we have with Aramark as far as any kind of rugs or anything is over at the Judicial Center, and that's on a reimbursement basis. All the other courthouses and buildings, we don't have a contract with them on. It's just
Just
So
stop doing it.
they're providing the rugs, I believe, Frankie, are we paying them for that?
they're providing and we're paying, but we don't have a contract in
Right.
place. The only actual contract we've signed with them on the rugs is over at
With
the
the
judicial
judicial
center.
building, I mean, that's a pass-through cost.
Right.
I mean, we can leave it in effect over there.
Right, and it's just it was just a contract that went into effect last April, and it'll be up in this coming April.
Well, I mean, the judicial building doesn't cost anything at all.
Right.
So it's just the county buildings that we need them to come pick up and clear out.
So the motion would be to terminate the purchases or the rentals from Aramark with the exception of the judicial center, and so that the county can undertake providing those materials at a considerable cost savings, we hope. That's the motion, Judge.
The only thing that AOC will not reimburse us back for, Brian, is telephones. Why? That's just part of their contract for some reason. Telephones don't get reimbursed. I've got the stuff printed out for last fiscal year. Josh Tackett's going to come by and pick it up to review the AOC expenses, and if there's anything, I'll let you know that they won't pay, but I do know telephone is not included.
All right, do we have a motion on
That's
the
like
floor
a
now?
7 or 10.
Okay.
I'm talking about all
Often got on telephones.
telephones. They do not pay for telephones at all.
Judge, to get back on track, we need a motion to that effect. I just stated what the motion should be. I think Bobby Varney's ready to make that motion.
I'll make a motion to that effect, whatever the lawyer said there.
Second. Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes.
All right, now, we also had a recommendation that masters would pay for their own cell phones. We need a motion on that, don't we?
Correct.
So I'll make a motion that all masters that use cell phones provided by the county will reimburse them on that cost.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes, I just want to state for the record that I've never had one, so I'll vote yes.
Mr. Johnson?
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Never had one, but I vote yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?
Yes.
Mr. Varney?
Yes.
Judge Deskins?
Yes. And add me to that list.
Okay.
I'd like to also make a motion that we will not be operating any swimming pools this summer.
Second.
I wonder, Judge, if I could suggest to the court.
Or maybe look to see if YMCA would want to pick them back up again at their cost.
That's what I was going to suggest. Look at any other option which may be out there. Now, several years ago, and Jeannie will recall when the YMCA had a contract with the court to operate those pools. $75,000 a year is $25,000 a pool. I understand that, but what I would suggest to the court is that we hold off on any action on the pools, because we also need to look at the golf course and what it's costing Pike County. And there's been suggestions, negotiations, there's been threatened lawsuits, and I'm not going to go into any further detail than that, but the court's aware of them from the executive session. But we just need to look, I think, Master Varney, at all those and make a decision. We can do that next meeting, because we're not into right now any expenditures for those, but it's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah.
Right.
And John, for the records, we were paying the Y $75,000, and we operated them for $48,000, I believe, last year. So we have cut back quite a bit with Paul's help and the maintenance and things on repairing the pools.
We had to
And,
buy,
we
we had to
don't
buy the
make any-
chemicals in addition to the $75,000.
We
so it
don't
was
make
actually-
any money. Maybe we might look at subcontracting if the Y don't want it to a private entity, or raising the rate, $2 instead of $1.
I think we can break even, especially at the Hardy Pool, if we raise that rate a little bit. Last year was not really what the typical year was, because the city of Williamson had closed their pool, but we had a couple days there, we had 100 people there, didn't we? So I think if we raise that rate a little bit, that the Hardy Pool can break even, and that's all we want.
And another thing, once you close the pool, then they're closed.
Yeah.
Paul can tell you by past experience, if you leave a pool down for a year or 2 years, it's hard to ever get them up and going again. And that's something we gotta look at, you know. Do we wanna forgive, that part that we give to people?
Well, my suggestion, Judge, is that the court just revisit this issue fairly shortly.
It's on the table. And John, another thing, we can't limit our garage on spending, which we just talked about. You know, if he has a piece of equipment over and it's broke down, then he's got to have it fixed, and he might need to go through the judge for that. But I know he has a budget that he operates on. Are we going to limit, tie his hands? Well, I'm talking about everyday use. You know, we've stopped spending what we just basically said. And we need to make, and there's Paul Williamson.
Got the same problem.
How about if it's a 99 or newer, we fix it, and if it's a 99 or below, we just junk it?
Junk everything in the county.
Push your button, push your button.
I've got things tore out right now that we're repairing and maintenance repairs. I don't know how we're gonna operate day to day if we can't.
That's the emergency things. He's got to have his budget to keep the equipment on the road. Yeah, I mean, that's...
Now, Paul's talking about his repairs on his buildings. He's got some things going on right now.
On the buildings, and like I said, we got a bathroom tore out on one of Bobby's buildings right now. And, you know, it's, we got the heating, the cooling, we got, you know.
Just communicate, Paul. Just communicate with the judge or myself.
It has to be done, Paul.
Yeah, I mean, it's got to be done. I mean...
that's what I'm saying. It has to be done, and, you know, we...
Just communicate with us, let us know what you're doing, and the judge will okay anything that needs to be okay.
You're doing a good job at it, Paul.
Thank you.
We also need a motion that from this point forward, any new hires only get a single plan, and have John Doug do the order now, and then John Doug needs to change the administrative code.
I don't think an order could override the code until we get that amended. We're going to have to stay where we are, but I intend to have the first reading of that for the next meeting.
All right.
I would like to give a little bit of good news since all this has happened, and him had touched on a little bit in the last court meeting. We had several people in here from Phelps area that had a lot of problems with the horses there around Beach Creek. And I went up and checked on them. They did have a severe problems and understand their complaints. But y'all wanted me to get some property there and get the horses on. And I talked to the Hatfield boy, and he agreed. And I also talked to the Harris group, and they had leased that property out. And they said they would very much like something done about the horses. They couldn't get their bond money back because the horses eating their plants up they planted. And so, but they told me Revelation had it leased out, and so I got a hold of the Revelation guy, and he needs to give some credit for being a good steward of a corporation in our county, Todd Tackett. When I talked to him, he said, use that property as you see fit to solve the problem for your area and your people. So he needs to be commended for that, Todd Tackett over Revelation Coal. And Terry Rogers came over Friday, and there's a whole group of people of us up there, and we corralled those horses in there and got them in, and they hauled them off. So we got 3 there, and so that's a little positive news, and the people's real happy in the area. And we got more work to do, but something's been done good.
I'd like to thank you, Jackie, Darrell, and Terry both. I know y'all put a lot of time in, a lot of effort of your own time, your own equipment, and I'd like to thank you both.
And Terry is a direct descendant of Roy Rogers.
Any more?
Mr. Williamson, you have anything to say? You have any comments?
I hope you do.
Bobby?
Hope you do leave it out, kid.
Judge, I'd just like to commend the court today where all the employees came in here today, and I sat here and thought about as many times as we've talked about equipment and things and taking care of the equipment and so forth, that's very important. But our people are our greatest resource, and I believe the court today took care of our people, and I do appreciate that, because we've got people, our road department, solid waste, every department. I'd put them up against anybody, bar none, that getting the job done. These boys, they really work hard, and the girls too, where we work in different departments. And I just appreciate the court today. I think you really done good by trying to take care of the employee, because they are our greatest resources, our people are. So.
You have anything? You have anything? All right. I need a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Oh, wait a
Mr.
minute. John Doug, you have any comments?
No, Judge.
I'm in a hurry, I guess. I'd like to make a comment. I think that we've got a bunch of good employees, and we need to take care of them the best we can. And I think they understand that, because without good employees, you can't get much done. And I think we've got a pretty good crew. So now I need that motion for adjournment.
You've got it in a second.
Mr. Johnson?
Over.
Yes.
Mr. Murphy?
Yes.
Mr. Robinson? Mr. Dodson?